Tell me what the hell are you scared of when in the end the only thing
Where's
that's
the
up in the
love?
end
Right here on
love's
this
never
podcast.
fair.
Welcome to
Welcome to
Love
Love
Drops,
Drops,
where your
where
host
the things
and
I
One
took
Love
from you
ambassadors,
never
Charles
receive
and
when I
Diane,
waste.
will
Together
share
long
love,
to an empty
hope,
world
and
that tastes the
inspirational
sweetest. So it's
topics
like
taken from
all the
their
things I
journey
do
and
each
world
time I lose
events.
a chance
We
to
will
let
also
life
include
go.
on
Baby,
location recordings and
baby,
special pop up guests from cool
whether big or
places
small,
all
all
around the
around the
world.
world. Never
So sit
left
back,
us apart.
relax, and
And
enjoy the
enjoy the
show.
show. Whether big or small, love never fails. Oh, love never, love it conquers all. Love never fails.
Welcome to another episode of the Love Drop Podcast. And I am so excited for this episode here because we are going to not only speak about the power of human connection, the brand of human connection. I think that should be a brand, honestly, human connection, because the world has just turned so virtual that the human connection is the part that's kind of disappearing. And I really feel like we should bring that back because that really establishes the trust in a relationship. It establishes authenticity or authenticates a relationship. And it also shows the integrity of the relationship because when there's a human connection, then you can't hide behind a keyboard or an avatar and things like that. So with that said, I am just so excited to get started with our guests. And there are two guests simultaneously. So we're doing a human connection three ways here. And with that said, I'm going to thank you for your yes, ladies. And I'm going to call to the mic Rebecca, Allison, and Lauren Carmody. So you have the mic.
Sounds good. Thank you for the introduction. Yes, my name is Becky Allison. I'm slowly transitioning to Rebecca Allison. It's a little rebrand for myself. But I run a graphic design studio specializing in branding in Long Beach, California. And I work with, I treat her more like a partner, Lauren Carmody, who's another designer on the team. And we mainly work with small to medium-sized businesses and helping them either start fresh with a business idea and helping them with their branding process, or they'll come to us and they've been in business for a certain amount of years and then they need a brand refresh. So we work collaboratively with these businesses to just refresh their identity, their brand identity, from their logo to their website and any marketing materials they have. And like you said, Diane, we really try and create that authentic human connection as far as finding the right look and feel to them so that we bring and highlight the services they offer, the products they offer. And yeah, it's a great process and we love working with these businesses. So yeah.
Yeah, and my name is Lauren, and I am Becky's partner, and she's also my wonderful mentor through my journey in graphic design. But from whatever all of the things that she just said, I'm reiterating the same. The biggest thing that we really do is kind of execute storytelling. It's all about communicating people's stories with visuals and like just being able to create the deliverables. People have great ideas, but we help them kind of execute that. And I'm just honored to be here with you guys, and I'm honored to be doing that type of work and putting great visuals with great storytelling out into the world. So thanks for having us, Diane.
Woo, it is such a pleasure. And as you guys were speaking, a couple of things came to mind. Number one, we have been working together for about 4 years now. We're
Yeah.
going into our fourth year working together. Still haven't met, but we will in person. But I feel so connected to both of you in such a way. I mean, we know about each other's lives, we support each other in real life, ask about families. I know that Becky has two amazing children that I've had the pleasure of watching grow on, just virtually. Lauren, just an amazing young lady. I've had the honor to watch you go through college, graduate, and continue to partner with Becky Allison, which is the proof in the pudding. Just our connection was one where I won a contest that I didn't even know that I was entered into, which again, just shows human connection because we both had a common person that we were connected to. And she entered me into this contest. And so you guys designed the website, Paths to Transformation. And we're going to talk more about that. But what I will say to just get it started is you guys got my vibe. You guys took the time to just really sit with me. And I remember when Becky first said, she said, okay, it's going to take a couple of months. And I was just thinking, well, why so long? Other people, they're like, yeah, I can get it out and, this quick or whatever. So I'm thinking, is this because it's a freebie? That's what was going in my head. So is that why it's going to take so long? But when you guys revealed the site and just even the process in getting there, I was blown away. It was like I was in tears when I saw the site because I was like, you got me. Like I saw my whole vibe in the site. My whole entire vibe was just in the site. And since the site, people have just asked, like, well, who did your site? And, I've just gotten so many compliments on the website. Also offers, where people like, well, if you need a website, and I'm like, yeah, that's never going to happen because I truly feel that when you make that human connection, right? And you vibe with a person that gets you and understands you, and you can even do like nonverbal, where Lauren was saying with the storytelling, how you can just do it in pictures and just be elevated is what I feel. I mean, I feel like I just hit the jackpot. I feel like I hit the branding jackpot when my path crossed with your company. So you told us about the company. What was the inspiration for you, Becky Allison, and starting the company? And then I want you to pass the baton to Lauren. And Lauren, what I want you to speak to is, so what made you partner with Becky and choose her as a mentor, and more importantly, stay with her as well to evolve. So yeah.
Yeah. I went to Cal State Long Beach just like Lauren, and we had an incredible graphic design program there. And right out of college, I interned for a design agency that specializes in doing they have a lot of car clients, so like Nissan and Infiniti and Subaru. And it was a great experience. I had a lot of wonderful mentors there, a lot of people that took me under their wing, took me on, photo shoots for cars, taught me I learned almost more on the job than in school, to be honest, through that internship. And I loved it. The one thing I will say though about working at an agency is that you work with, only a couple brands. And so after working with the agency, I worked for a couple other companies. I worked for NBC and then the Honest Company. But what I found is that we know when you're working with these companies, you're working with certain brands that already have a set color palette, already have a set of fonts that you can use. So I felt that was a little bit restricting as far as being creative, right? So you kind of have to stay within those guidelines usually at most of those bigger companies. And so when I was working at some of these bigger companies, I was taking on side projects where I would help smaller businesses start their brand from scratch. And I loved it because I had a lot of creative freedom to dictate, their look and feel, and also come up with new and fresh ideas. And I loved like that creative freedom. So I started taking on clients on the side, and then I found a love for branding and working with smaller businesses. I tend to like to work with smaller local businesses just because I can, when I work with people in my town, I get to walk by their store and see their growth, and it's so rewarding to see. And I live in Long Beach. Lauren lives close by, but we have such a great community of business owners here that support each other, and that's I think we all align because we go through the struggles of running a small business, so we relate to each other. We also support each other. And yeah, it's been great working with those businesses and just getting to see their growth and their success. Yeah, Lauren, do you want to speak to
Yeah,
your Mhm.
I was gonna say every day I show up to my job and I always kind of like pinch myself because the chance of like how our paths crossed was just like I was in my senior year of college. I was in an internship class and my professor had pulled me aside and she was like, on the low key, she wasn't like, advertising this to everyone. And she had pulled me aside privately and was like, hey, I ran into an old student and she has this great business and she needs some help. I think she'd be interested in an intern. And I think about that professor all the time because she really did change the path of my life. Like it was a blessing, really. So I interned with Becky and immediately it was like, okay, well, I have a strong independent woman who is like teaching me the ropes of all the ins and outs of graphic design. And I just found so much comfort in the mentorship and like we were talking about how it's never like a talk down to. It's always like I'm here to teach you. I'm here to like go through the process with you. It's not we're equals. So just a great environment to be around. And then also the projects that we work on are so amazing because I personally love that like every project is a new beginning. Everything is constantly changing. One week I'm working on this aspect of branding. The next week I'm working on a completely different like design principle, totally different project. So the spontaneity is really there and like I don't know what's coming next. And this week we're working on this, next week we're working on something totally different. And then like she was saying about the sense of community, we're working on projects that matter, that people have these great visions of businesses or organizations that they want to speak to. And sometimes you just need something to look. It's a shame that sometimes you need something to look nice in order to get people to like pay attention to it. But if one small thing that we can do is to have people's message be heard or taken seriously or looked at, that's exciting for me. Like I just love that we get to make a small difference and then it's within such a great community. So very, very, very grateful.
I want to also mention that. So I didn't know that Tanya Cummings is the professor at Cal State Long Beach that
Hmm.
she's one of the heads of the graphic design program. And I literally ran into her at the supermarket by my house. And so it was very serendipitous. And we were just talking about my business and I was like, yeah, I could use some help. And she's like, well, I run the internship program at Cal State Long Beach. And we're looking for internship opportunities. And so I had a couple people apply for the internship. And then I think Lauren and I met for coffee, and literally at her interview, I literally offered her the job right there. Like
Wow.
because like I knew we just had that connection, like you're saying,
Yeah, I think it
right?
goes back to what you're saying. You
Yeah.
instantly feel that like gut intuition that you're with good
Yeah.
people that
I
you
know.
want
I
to.
felt like it was like I was like, oh, am I coming on too strong here? Like, but
It
um
didn't feel that way.
but I was like, she's totally the right person, right? And
Yeah.
I knew that right off the bat. And so I had never hired anyone myself before. And so I was like, but I knew that she was, I could tell that it would be a good partner. And yeah, the internship was only supposed to be what, 6 months or
Hmm.
something like that. And then of course I offered to I asked her if she wanted to stay longer. And yeah,
Yeah.
she's been with me for how long? It's been over 4 years.
Yeah. Best
So,
decision ever.
oh,
Wow,
awesome.
I
I love
love
that.
it. Man, that I have truth bumps. I used to call them goosebumps, but I had a friend, she's like truth bumps, and I like that. So yeah, I just yeah, I felt that. I felt that, and that's the thing. If people can see you and Lauren together, it is the vibe, it is the nonverbal, it is just the way that you ebb and flow. I talked about that before we started the interview. And it's so interesting I guess the play on synchronicity, right? On all three of our relationships, because someone spoke you up to Lauren, spoke
Mhm.
both, spoke up the company to me, and it was just like it was the right fit. And it's like
Yeah.
when you know, and you run with it, right? And I wanted to just circle back to something that Lauren said about Becky, and that was just strong woman. And the thing that I really and truly I hold endearing and I love so much about Becky Allison is that she is strong with an ease. So she can come with a strength and force, but the way that she brings it to you is like an ease, almost just like a win, but you get it. But you get it.
Totally.
You
Mhm.
hear what she says and you feel it though. And as we were talking earlier, you don't just come with that win, but you bring something with it. So you bring an option. You come with an option. And that I think is something that is so unique because you speak truth. There's authenticity with both of you. And I love how when we have our powwows and discussions, that if I say something and Becky may pause and Lorna just jump right in, like it's just a flow. And Lorna say, well, you know what about this? And we're sharing screens and we're talking. And like I said earlier, we've been together for 4 years. And I think Becky, you said the word refresh. So we refresh the site, we keep it fresh and moving. And for the listeners, just you wait because we're in the process of doing another refresh here
Mhm.
shortly. And so, you get to see the elevation and the transformation, right? The site has passed the transformation. And so you get to see that transformation. And when you guys branded the site from just us talking, just our human connection, it was amazing because I just felt like you went inside the soul of me and you felt that vibe and then you brought it to life. You
Mhm.
brought it to life in a caring way. Like I feel like you guys care.
Mhm.
So and that is so important. It's so important because a lot of times people will just take the job, finish the job and just kind of move on. And I can't stress enough that your very first project with me was a prize award. So you guys awarded, there was no money that
Mhm.
was asked of me. So you guys did it in honor of a
Mhm.
prize that
Mhm.
I won.
Right.
And it was done with such a way that 4 years later, we're still working, we're working together. So that speaks so much to who you are and what you represent. So
Mhm.
with small businesses and going out there on your own, there are challenges, right? So um speak to those challenges and in that answer, kind of incorporate some of the creativity that you had to do during the pandemic, and during your low times.
Yeah. Well, Diane, I will say that you are an ideal client.
I
I will
I was
say so.
I was waiting
Yeah.
to chime in that yeah, this
Yeah.
this is the we if we could have all clients be like you, it
Yeah,
would make everything much more impactful and
absolutely.
meaningful for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we come across, we have a wide variety of clients that we've worked with, and one of the things that makes projects successful is having mutual trust. And so from the very beginning, a lot of the brands we work with are small businesses. And so, the owners really take their brands, their companies personally. A lot of times they invest their own money, their savings into like building a dream of having their own business. And so it's a very personal thing. And Lauren and I like to, from the very beginning, work on building trust with that person so that when we collaborate with them, they trust our vision. And we also, try and leave our ego aside and listen, so that we can really, like Lauren was saying, like it's a storytelling process, right? So we really want to make sure we get their story right and make sure that they're building trust also with their clients or customers. So yeah.
Yeah. I was just going to say that I think one of the things that makes our job easier in the process of branding is when people come with their small businesses, their small ideas, and their passion. They're passionate. They know the ins and outs of what story, what's the narrative they want to tell. It is so much easier because we really are just researching you as the brand, and we need to know the ins and outs. And if we stray away from like our guideline of like, this is what the brand message is, this is what the visuals look like, you need to be able to kind of like go back to those foundational things that we research or we gather when we get to know the client. And so it's really easy when you do have people that are passionate, they know what they want. This is at least being open to having like conversations or being open to you have an idea, but you're open to receiving feedback or growth or evolving that idea to get something even better in the end. I think that's how we get small businesses with like really thorough branding projects that are really successful is when they have really good like knowledge of what they want to communicate and what they want to show to the world, which is really cool.
Yeah. And I think design is kind of tricky because it's not like like I was talking to Lauren about this earlier. Design isn't like a straight answer, right? Or art is not
Totally.
just a straight, there's no straight answer. Like an accountant will, calculate something and get exact numbers, right? So art is so subjective and
Right.
so we we've put together a process of like helping people narrow in on what they want because it's hard to sometimes articulate in words what kind of brand they want or like visually.
Hmm.
So we kind of coach them through a process and
Like a brand auditing. But we're
yeah,
gonna
Yes.
question and see where you align with certain aspects on what you want to communicate.
I
right.
have to jump in there because
Yeah.
the first time I did my site,
Yeah.
the very, very first time, just me, just and people were saying, "Oh, it's so beautiful and colorful," but so what's the message? Like the brand was so not clear. There was no brand, if I can be honest.
Mhm.
And even with you guys, I knew what the message that I wanted to transmit. I knew the brand that I wanted to put out there. I knew the way that I wanted the story to look.
Mhm.
So brand audit, I like that, Lauren. Just the questions and the pulling,
Yeah.
just to circle back to the time factor that you said, because I think you said initially, Becky, you said it'll be maybe 4 to 6 months, somewhere in that 4 to 6 month range. And it was, kind of in there, but I understand now why, because there were questions. Pinterest, we did Pinterest things together. There were color schemes. It was like staging. It was like a staging process. And so just to jump in before I pass it back, I think that if clients are honest, I mean, just honest and true with what they want, and to be able to be transparent and not feel, because you guys do not judge. There was no judgmentalness or anything. Even if something was busy, you just had a way of just saying, well, how about this? And, and just kind of gently guiding back to that alignment that we were going. So I really feel that if clients are honest and true, that your formula is a 100% hit every time. That if you are true with the input with BEQ designs, the output will blow you away every single time. But it's the input and output. And so that's that trust again. So to kind of like circle back, challenges, because it's your own business. So what are some challenges that you guys have faced together?
I think since we worked with a variety of clients, we're not always going to come across a personality that doesn't have ego, So I think, since Lauren's been with me, we've been really lucky to have a lot of really incredible clients. And I would say 90% of the time, we've always had great clients that have respected our craft and all that stuff. We have had a couple clients that have had ego, and it's been a challenge when they don't try quite trust our expertise. And so I think a lot of times what I'll do is, if they are very adamant about making a design change that maybe Lauren and I don't think is a great direction, we'll show what they would like as far as, we'll implement their changes, but then also create another version where we say, this is what we recommend, this is what you asked for, but this is what we recommend, and this is why, and kind of, speak to why with our design we chose this, we chose this color because it's more legible. This, we chose this graphic because it resonates with your audience, stuff like that. So, it's just really trying, showing what they want, but then showing why, what we recommend. And so there's always a middle ground that we can come to. So
Yeah. And I think really it all boils down to communication.
yeah.
I think most people are understanding. Like you said, we've had phenomenal clients. There's nothing really to complain about at all. But communication on the big scale of, yeah, they are insisting on something to look a certain way, and we can give options, but in the end, it is what the client's asking for, and we'll deliver that. And then on a smaller level of communication, it's sometimes things get lost in messages, how something's communicated in an email or a ping on a instant message or something. You're like, hang on, can we go over that again? Can you hop on a call or something? So sometimes there's a level of it's actually just a small little thing that we need to tweak or we need to go over, but it can spiral and get lost in the virtual communication aspect of it as well, since a lot of our stuff, we're working with clients all over the United States sometimes. So it is kind of adapting to that communication style and being able to be hang on, can I pick your brain on what you said on that last bullet point, or can we hop on a call? Because sometimes it's really as easy as just hopping on a call and you explaining it, and it doesn't get lost in a text or something like that. So sometimes it's just communication, and then it's a really easy fix, which is nice.
And I just want to say that your communication is top notch, seriously. And I love it. And what you're saying, we experienced that working together. Whereas we'll email or back and forth. But if something is not making quite sense, you say, hey, you have time for a call, and we'll just jump on and do a Zoom real quick, and you guys are pulling up screens and everything and just showing. And I really appreciate that as just a consumer, right? I could, speaking for myself and just others that have worked with you, you get human relationship and almost friendship. So even though you may have that ego aspect, but the repeat customer, and the repeat clients and just the maintenance speak to the fact that as a brand, you guys have found your niche. And for me, working with you has helped me to find my niche better as well. And it's also helped me to kind of like want to evolve. So even now with the site, I feel like another thing that you guys do is you give tools. You make it very easy for the client to be able to go in and just do simple things. And you're there, if we get stuck, I'm like, Becky, and you answer, right, you right away. And that just helps to build that confidence to go in. So with the site now, I feel like a little bit it's gotten, I don't want to say cluttered, but I'll say that clean, fresh lines that we created, which is our foundation, I
Right.
feel like a little bit it kind of gets off. And so probably up until this time, I think it's been maybe about 2 years now, but generally every year we check in for
Right.
a refresh. I mean, we talk throughout, but every year we check in. It's like a refresh. And that in itself is invaluable. It's priceless because again, a lot of companies will come and they'll just like throw it down, but then it's that back end. It's like that aftercare, it's
Yes.
that customer relation that goes beyond the project. And I think that is something that you guys are just so phenomenal with. And it goes back to human connection.
Yeah,
You know,
I think we have a symbiotic relationship because we want to see you do well, and we are so invested in like what the vision is for these projects that we work on. And so it's like you're doing like you're auditing, you're, evolving, you're checking, you're creating this brand, and then we're rooting for you. Like we want to see that vision through, and the only way we can do our job is when you guys are so passionate, or being honest, you're having honest conversations with yourself, looking at your website saying, hey, I think it's time we have a call and see like maybe there's some things we can move around, or I trust you guys, what can we be doing differently? And it's all give and take on both sides. Like the only way we're doing it is because you're also doing it. You're also doing the work. So it's a great symbiotic relationship we have for sure.
I agree. And I agree too. Once we work with brands, especially local brands, I become so like I feel like
Oh
we've become
yeah,
so invested in their success. Like if one of the brands I work with is having like an event or something in Long Beach, I always want to like go support them, or if they're having a
totally.
sale or something like that, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get their product, So
Yeah, no,
I feel like I become in the process of us building brands. I feel like sometimes we become attached to those brands, and we also like, yeah, we're rooting for them, and we want
totally.
to see them succeed. And so beyond just building a brand and website and handing it over and never seeing them again, we definitely make sure that we're there to check in and know that we're there to support them. And yeah.
you
Yeah.
do it for me. I mean, I am going to say that yes, you do it for me. Anything that I'm doing within the community, with my books,
Right.
you guys have supported me in just such a way that again, that's that human connection. That's
Mhm.
that like, I want to see you win. And I truly feel that I get that from you ladies that, hey, we're winning. I mean, we have so much fun together. We laugh. And
Mhm.
it's just like, I feel that if you say something to me about it, like, hey, take a look at it, take another look, I
Mhm.
trust, there's a trust that is established, in this relationship. And I think doing it with small businesses versus big corporations, the big corporations may get you some swag or maybe get, second, oh, you work with this, but again, you're in a confinement, you don't have that creativity
Mm-hmm.
would have. So in that, where you guys do the comparison, like this is what you want, this is what we were suggesting. In a big
Right.
corporation, you don't have that. Just give them what they want. And
Right.
in dealing with customer service and branding and things, sometimes what we see in our head, and then when it's manifest, it doesn't really show up the same way. And then as a consumer, then we want to blame you. Like, yeah, you got it wrong. And so that's the one thing that I really respect and appreciate with you guys, because you do give both pictures. You give both, you do give both pictures and options. I appreciate the options. I appreciate the way that you two brand together, as far as just like in relationship and having, this is how a very effective and workable relationship partnership looks. So I feel like you and Lauren mirror how a partnership looks, and then invites us, the consumer, in to that partnership in its peace, in its flow. And even if it's ripples, it's like it's like you guys are on both sides, kind of book ending. So you
Mhm.
volley the ball, and it's like, okay, what do you do? And you strategize, and you don't give up. That's the one thing, just even in the challenges, and when you're talking about egos, and when you're talking about how even if you don't agree necessarily, that you don't give up. You still try to, you keep that brand audit in play to just get to that common ground, or that, that alignment. So like during the pandemic and just other low ends, because when you're doing small businesses, it's ebb and flow and up and down. So how, or what do you guys do to create a space of flow to just keep going?
I was gonna say, the way that Becky and I came together was really, I think I got hired beginning of March of 2020.
Yeah.
So we had maybe 2 weeks in person, barely
Yeah.
knowing each other, trying to get the flow going. And
Yeah,
then,
I had just gotten an office space, literally, I think like February or something
yeah,
like that.
and then
Um,
our worlds changed. And so it was like, I talk about trust. I had all of my faith in this person that
yeah.
I virtually was counting on. Like I was like, hey, I'm here to help. I want to help whatever wherever I can. We're in some weird situation right now.
Yeah.
And I seriously found comfort in our weekly meetings and just not even just talking about school and work and design, but like the human connection during the scariest time any of us have ever experienced. Nothing, there's no we did not understand what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
And so to have that almost strictly virtual connection, we
Yeah.
live maybe 20 minutes away, 15 minutes away from each other, but I never see her because of a pandemic keeping us apart. So it was really leaning into the trust and the human connection and the partnership that we were like, well, I've got you and you've got me, and we can, like figure our way out through this. And honestly, I think we had best case scenario with all of the brands we worked with during such a scary time that I don't know how certain businesses stayed afloat in such a strange time, but we were very adaptable. I mean, I think you have to be with design. Everything is always about critique, evolving, changing, being open, listening. So we just had to adapt doing all of that and then virtually. So it definitely we learned a lot. But as for the businesses, I think we were very, very fortunate that in our community there were still people that wanted to put their message out, and they were making it happen and making it work with however they could. So it really inspired us for sure.
Yeah, and Lauren came in right at the right time because I have two kids and all, their school is shut down. And I really leaned on Lauren to support me. And if I had just had the business by myself, I wouldn't have had that support. And so I'm so grateful that Lauren gave me that support. And like I said, like Lauren was saying, we check, we do a weekend check and call. And so we always start the call by just talking about our lives too, like not even like business stuff. We talk about our lives, like what we do over the weekend and all that stuff. So like I think also not only did we support each other through the business, but we supported each other like on a personal level too. And yeah, just raising kids through that time was there's a lot of unknowns, and it was challenging for me to run a business and have my kids at home, but we figured out other solutions and Lauren supported me through. I will say that, the pandemic was a crazy time and it was a terrible time, to be honest, but it also opened the door for us to connect. So like Zoom was not even the thing before the pandemic, right?
Hmm.
And so it also opened the door for us, like we were talking about connections, to connect with people, like Diane, who is like across the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's really interesting is that like, it also like got us to connect with people all over the country and work with businesses we might have not had an opportunity to work with, now we were working with someone in the UK not too long ago, working on a kids app, and so it's really incredible how, something such a dark time could also like force us to like connect in a different way,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
Yes.
So,
I
yeah.
love that. I love that. And one thing I was going to say is you guys were busy when a lot of people were struggling. And that in itself speaks to that human connection, even if it's done virtually. Because as
Hmm.
I say a lot of times, it's like the vibe don't lie, and the vibe just goes across every airwave, like every airwave. So like when I speak with you guys, when I get off, I feel so light. I'm just like happy. But
Oh.
there's also times you can speak with someone and you're so heavy, you need to go hug a tree or just go out for a run or because
Yeah.
it's just like it
Mm.
just like suck, so it's like when you interact, when you make human connections, they're either going to fill you up and just make you feel, it's just like, wow, I really enjoy being, together, or it's going to be like, oh God,
Right.
whew, okay, 15 minutes, I can do this, I can do it, I can, know, like that. And so I say that like that because the proof is in the pudding. And the pudding was really, really abundant for you guys in a time where people were just like just draining out. So that it was just great. And it was creative things that you guys were doing. You guys were doing a lot of creative things outside of the box, doing a lot of out of the box things. Um, but I want to kind of circle as we are simmering to right now in this recording, even though it'll be played later, we're in Women's History Month, right? And we're all women. And, we are building together. We are, thriving and shining together. I mentioned to Lauren that glow, I had to put on sunglasses, just sit in a Zoom with Lauren here today. But, we're thriving together. And so, what does like working with and just making human connections with other women, what does that do to just like feed your soul, to, get your juices going?
Yeah, for me, I the only way that I do what I do is by surrounding myself with strong people because I'm not going to say I'm weak, but I definitely seek comfort and inspiration and motivation, especially motivation because I want to be like the people that I surround myself with. I want to be on their level. I want to be able to be able to be my own person, but be confident in what I'm doing. And I get that so much from my relationships through all the people in my life. And whether it was in school or in personal or whatever, it's always surrounding myself with people that inspire me to be a better version of myself. And that was huge in school too, because me and Becky were talking about this earlier about this imposter syndrome, this, topic that I feel like everyone can relate to, but it's really, we were talking about a video we had seen. I'm sure Becky will tell you more about it, but it's kind of this like made up idea. Like we're all thinking that we're not capable of doing things, but really we're seeing our friends do the things that they're capable of. And then we're the ones kind of boxing in ourselves that, oh, well, we'll never be able to do that. When it's really like you need that as inspiration to be like, oh no, we're all able to do this. And so I think the human connection of keeping people in your life that add to your life. They bring good, they bring personally for me, I need that to be able to achieve whether it's small or big. I have to have people that are strong, good people that make me want to be better. So I lean heavy on having those connections for sure.
Mm, that's good. That's good. That's so good, Becky. Before you jump in, I just want to say to you, Lauren, it's been 4 years of just viewing, doing life, connecting with you. And I just want to say this, young lady, that I have witnessed a growth in you that is phenomenal.
Thank
Because
you.
from the very first call together, you were like silent. So and then you would just throw in little, you jump in just a little bit, and a lot of times invited, because Becky would say, hey Lauren, she would volley the ball to you.
Yeah.
And even in this conversation, you're jumping in, like you're looking like, boom, okay, here I come, I'm jumping in, I have a point, and you're speaking your point. And again, as our human connection and relationship evolved, just seeing some of the things that you were just throwing in, some of your ideas, some of the suggestions and things, phenomenal. So just wanted to pause and say that sometimes we don't see the growth in ourselves, and sometimes it's a little bit subtle, and sometimes we do. But I
Yeah.
just want you to be encouraged that, darling, you are on the right track, and you are so evolving. And I'm grateful for the connection with you.
Yeah,
So
thank you so much. I'm so grateful for our connection too. I really, really find a lot of comfort and a lot of inspiration from all of our talks and working with you for the last couple of years. It's been really inspiring for sure.
Yeah, and Diane, you're like we were just talking about, you know, having a supportive environment, and you are so good about uplifting people and you're such a good motivator, and the best client we could possibly have, and that you trust us. And yeah, you every time we have a call with you, you're always talking about our growth and the positive things that we're doing, and we really appreciate that. So we don't, we don't always get that from clients, we don't
No,
always
yeah,
get clients that fully believe in us or fully trust us. And so we're entirely grateful to have clients like you. And we try and also I think I've made an intention to work with companies and people that have the same feelings of mutual respect, and also are doing very meaningful work. We've been doing a lot more nonprofit work lately, which has been really nice. And I hope to attract more work like that for us.
I
So
love
yeah, so
that.
thank
That is,
you.
thank
Thank you.
you, ladies,
yeah,
so
thank
much.
you.
And I love that. And I think that that is a huge thing about human uh, connection. And that is that it flows, the way that it flows. It's funny. My phone just rung, I'm turning it off. But it was from Long Beach. It was a 562 number. So I
Nice.
like we're on this call. I'm like, for real, it's like Long Beach calling.
Yeah.
So, but it's just it's really a in and out flow. It's really an ebb and flow with human connection. It's an ebb and flow with, just making your brand. And for me, it's so important because I have uh branded myself just from what resonates with me as a One Love ambassador, and Charles the same. So then how do you carry that title and not live that message? So it holds me accountable, right?
Mhm.
Not perfect at all. I'm not even saying I'm perfect, but at the same time to live our message. And so that's what I think human branding.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love the way you've worded that. I think it embodies everything that we're discussing. It's exactly what it is, human branding. I love that.
Right. And you have to live your message. And I think with human branding, you don't have to necessarily speak it because if a person is just around you or they see your life speaks to your brand. And just like we want our brand to be clear, then our message should be clear. You can't be on the fence. You're left or right, but you or just true. And sometimes your truth may be on the left, sometimes your truth may be on the right. But when you stand in your truth,
Right.
then it's not going to be so much about left or right. It's going to be about truth. It's going to be about authenticity. It's going to be about, like what Lauren was saying, safe, comforting, right? And so I dearly love the two of you ladies, and you hold such a special place in my heart, right? And so I do not want to end this without a couple of things. The first thing is, so BQ Designs, in your own words, what makes you unique, in the branding game? What makes you unique in each? I want each of you to expound in your own words. I'm a client. I want to brand or rebrand or, create a website. And, I want to work with a small business. And honestly, I want to work with women because I want to just really see women win, so I want to work with women. So, oh, BQ Design. Oh, Becky Allison.
Mhm.
Hi. Why do I want to work with you?
I think that being a small business owner, we share some of the same struggles. And I think that having that mutual understanding of running like the ins and outs and like when to pivot and stuff like that, I think that sharing that experience is very important. And then also, I think that we've been fortunate to work with all different types of industries. So we've worked with a car wash in Jersey. We've worked like with a kids app brand in the UK. We've worked with like skincare lines, all different industries. And so what's nice is that we've been able to take on all different types of design challenges, and I think it's helped with our confidence and being able to take on all different types of styles. So I think, some other companies might have their own niche as far as like, oh, we mainly work with fashion, fashion brands or skincare lines, whereas like Lauren and I will like look at our client list and be like, wow, we've worked with so many different types of companies. And it's really fun because for us, because we get to learn about industries that we've never even like thought we would learn about. Recently we worked with a hormone replacement therapy line for like women going through menopause, which is like we're not in that phase of life, but like we got to like dig in and learn about hormone levels and how they change as you age. So it's like, we get to learn about all these like different topics that we'd never thought we could like before. And so I think that has made us become stronger designers, and that we're very dynamic and not like focused in on one industry. So
I was gonna say, just
yeah.
to reiterate the same
Yeah.
thing, that
Yeah.
I think it's the openness. We come in with the expertise. We have a good base on like understanding things, how design's supposed to look, but
Mhm.
the dynamicness and the ability to be open, you tell us what you want, and then we're gonna take an honest look at it, and then most of the time we're gonna say, yeah, we can do that.
Mhm.
So it's really that dynamic. I love that word, that we really do, we can adapt and we can deliver exactly what you're asking. And we'll figure it out. Like
Right. We
it
don't really
really,
say no to a design challenge.
no,
We're not,
yeah.
yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's what design is about. Like it's about, our job is really just like working a puzzle. It's just figuring
Mhm.
out the pieces to like make it fit right. And so you need us to do some user interface. We're designing an app. Sure, we'll try it. And then the next day we're making a logo, or we're doing packaging design, or we're doing so many different facets of design and
Right. Yeah, we
like
don't just
visual
do
communication.
branding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, branding is just one tiny aspect of like all the
Right.
things that we do. And so being able to come in honest and skilled, I would say, and then say, this is what we can deliver, and then have them explain what they want, and then us being willing and open to learn more about it. And I think that is what puts us apart, is that we really do have a vast like library of all these projects that we've worked on, and they're all so different at the same time. So very
Yeah.
adaptable.
I think we're
I love
both like
that.
innately curious about learning.
Totally. Yeah, we're open to it. You
Yeah.
have to be open to whatever challenge comes by, and then just figure out the puzzle pieces to it.
Hmm.
I love that. And what stuck with me just listening to the two of you, BEQ designed. We adapt and deliver. Y'all go ahead and sit. Y'all can have that.
I love that.
No, yeah, but I mean that was you guys. I mean, Lauren, that was a Becky, that was a Lauren, that was a
Mhm.
Lauren, that was a Lauren.
Absolutely.
Right
Love
there's
it.
like, yeah, BEQ design. She says, well, what she said, we adapt and deliver.
Mhm.
And that that I mean that says it all.
Mhm.
Adaptation and just the delivery of it. And that goes across with any brand, any design, because
Mhm.
adaptability is necessary. And then just how are you going to deliver? What's your
Right.
deliverance, right? Some people adapt, but they don't deliver. And
Right.
some people deliver, but they don't adapt, right?
Hmm.
So it's just like you guys do both. I can attest to that. And so as we are circling down, I would like each of you to just give words of wisdom to creatives, right? Because like you said, it's beyond branding and even design. It's the creative process. So just give words of wisdom to our listeners that are out there, that are creatives and live in that space that all three of us are in, and so many others, which is outside of the box. We play outside of the lines.
Mhm.
We create outside of the lines, and we take creative challenges, and
Mhm.
we adapt, right? We adapt those challenges and turn them into wins, right? And then we deliver them. So
Yep.
go for it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting being a commercial artist. So, in high school, in my high school art class, like I remember our teacher, she would come up to me and just praise my work all the time, just all this praise, right? So I got all that, build up in high school. And then you get to art school and you go through your first critique, right? So that is a big wake up call, I would say, as far as going from like a high school art class to college, because college is all about getting constructive criticism, and you want growth, right? And you want to hear the truth about your work. You don't want to be just like constantly praised, otherwise you're not going to grow. And so I think initially when I was going through design school. That was a big learning curve, is like set your ego aside and let, the experts, which are your teachers, really guide you and say how you can improve your work. And so I think that I think just to be patient with yourself and not be too hard on yourself once you're going through those initial critiques. Some art teachers are a little more tougher than others with like their truthfulness. So there's an art to critiquing. Like usually like a art teacher will like say the good things about it, but then and then at the end, there's a gentle way to do it. Not all of them do it that way. So I would just say like for people starting out, for creatives starting out, just to be, just to not be so hard on yourself when you're going through those critiques, and just use them as a big learning tool. And yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely that. You definitely, it's a wake-up call when you,
Yeah.
but it is a great skill to have, to
Right.
learn how to listen,
Mhm.
take what you've like heard and then use that towards like creating something better or to grow and whatnot. But for me, I think I've had a very winding road, my journey to like getting to a creative outlet as a career. So for me, my biggest thing that I continue to tell myself is just trusting the process, understanding that we're just gonna ride this ride and we're gonna see where it takes you. Because I had gone to school for nursing. I have a degree in biomedical, like, and then I was unhappy and I really thought, and I like, it all goes back to what you want as a person and then figuring out we have these ideas of how we're going to get to that end goal, but you have to go with the highs and there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, and you just kind of have to trust the process in that. And so for me, going into school, I had that imposter syndrome. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm late to the game. I don't know anything about design. And it was really reaffirming when I was hitting those highs that it was like there's going to be ebb and flow, and you just have to trust the process. And the other really big thing with design for me is like in everything in life, never stop learning. That design number one is like surround yourself with a good team, and we are constantly going to be learning, absorbing. We're going to see stuff on the internet from people that know nothing about design, and I'm going to take an ounce of that and I'm going to use that in work. I'm going to see something on Instagram, I'm going to use an ounce of that. I'm going to have feedback from clients, I'm going to take that in. Like, it's design and creative work is all about learning, and you never stop learning. There's no end goal to, what looks good, sure, but it's really about the absorbing of the learning and like just constantly evolving. So process and learning were my biggest things that helped me in my career for sure.
Wow, I
So,
love it. I love it. I love it. I think for me as a creative, my words of wisdom would just be don't try to explain your process. Don't try to explain your creativity. Allow the creativity to flow. And for those that it is meant to connect with, it will. And for those
Definitely.
that it's not, it will just flow on. And even when you try to explain it, it makes it even harder because it's like trying to talk to a wall. No, yeah. And it's just like, but it's not penetrating, it's not making it. So it takes away from the creativity, in my opinion, when you try to explain it, because what you are creating is meant for where it lands. And then
Totally.
the back end of that is to not judge yourself for when others don't get it, and why that just looks stupid. Thank you for sharing is all you have to say, and then just move on. And when you do it, that is so empowering, and it just helps you to create. It kind of just feeds into that creativeness, right? But when you create from your own truth without trying to explain it, respecting there's not going to land everywhere, and to be all right with that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
To be all, and just to be all right with that. With as far as human connections, I think we said it early on in this conversation when you guys talked about how you connected, how Becky, when you mentioned the interview, you
Mhm.
knew that Lauren was your person. So one of the big things in human connection is when you know.
Mhm.
Right.
Don't try, embrace it. Embrace it. Embrace it. I think as humans, a lot of us have been hurt or, you know, caught up in imposter syndromes and things like that. To whereas when something really fits, when it hits the first time, you're almost skeptical. You're like, wait a minute, could this embrace it?
Mhm.
Just embrace it because the vibe don't lie. So if you when you know and you know it's because it's just like it's something that just clicked. It's
Yeah.
almost
Right.
like a soul connection. It's like, oh, I feel, oh man, like I
Yeah.
really like her, and
Gotta trust your
yeah,
instincts and trust
yes,
yourself. Mhm.
Yeah.
yes.
And believing in yourself. What you were just saying is you have a vision. That's just believing in yourself and believing in your idea. And that's huge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So with that said, first of all, thank you, ladies, for your yes. Thank you for your time. It's non-refundable. So like you don't get that time back. And I appreciate it that you shared it with me. And so I know for a fact that you guys have a website. So if you guys just share your website because people can connect with you from that site,
Mhm.
they can reach out. And just to for clarification, both of you guys are on there, right? Can you reach both
Mhm.
of you?
Yeah.
Awesome. So
Yes.
Becky, you want to share that site?
Yeah, so it's beckdesign.com, so beqdesign.com. And just click contact if you want to get in touch with us. And thank you so much, Diane, for having us. This was such an important conversation to have. And just to kind of reflect on our whole journey has been really wonderful. And it just makes me truly appreciative of everything we have. So thank you. Very
Yes.
great.
Thank you so much for having us. And we're honored to be part of your journey. And like I was saying, I want to be surrounded by people that are adding to my life, adding to my career. And you only surround yourself with the best people. And I definitely got the best people with me right now. So it's definitely a blessing. So thank you so much for having us.
Thank you both for being here. Oh, just warm hugs. And I'm gonna say this on the show. I'm soon coming to California, so I'm really going to reach out because I would love for all three of us to meet in real life and go to a restaurant or just
Yes, that'd be
a
great.
business, maybe of one of your clients, just a small business or just something like that, not a
Yeah.
chain where we can just like go and just live our message because all of us, we speak from our hearts. And so I'm looking forward to it. So y'all stay tuned.
Oh yeah, keep
Sounds
us
good.
posted.
Yes, I
Yeah,
absolutely will.
great. Okay.
I absolutely will. So I will end like I always end, and I will go out with one love.
To know, never a second will I waste, never an opportunity to taste the sweetness of this life.
Thank you for tuning in to the Love Drops podcast.
Follow the challenge.
Be sure to follow this podcast and share the love with everyone you know. Until next time, this is Charles and Diane signing off. One love.
Love it conquers all, whether big or small. Love never fails. Love it conquers all. Love never